sleep, or maybe during work, or maybe before going to sleep. So today we're having a special guest here as a Buildathon partner. But before that, as everyone knows, I'm Taka. I'm representing Makindo. Makindo is the world's first and the largest Buildathon platform. We go beyond traditional hackathons, accelerators, and grant programs to help our partners create real ecosystem native killer apps and build sustainable developer ecosystems. And we're here to bottom up the Web3 industry in general. And then we're happy to help all those builders and then also ecosystem partners long-term ecosystem growth. And today, we're happy to have Laisha from Moca Network. Hi, Laisha.
Hi, Taka. Hi, everyone. Glad to be here. And again, welcome everyone to the Wave 2 of the Buildathon.
Great. Thank you, Laisha. And then you're familiar with this kind of maybe workshop or online onboarding event, right? As a developer person, you do this kind of MMA and an online onboarding things.
Yes.
On the other platforms too, right?
Hmm.
Great. So yeah, maybe today will be maybe great that maybe you can share the Mocha Network's kind of expectations, what are you guys trying to do in this space? And then I'm sure Mocha Network has a very great mission as a services company in not just in Web3, but maybe in the world in general. So we're super excited, looking forward to knowing all those, everything and details. But before that, maybe Laisha, can you also introduce, yourself and then a project in general before going to the actual agenda?
Sure, absolutely. Again, for everyone who's seeing me for the first time, my name is Laisha. I work as a developer relations engineer at Moca Network. For those of you who are also hearing about Moca Network for the first time, we are building a digital identity infrastructure that's interoperable and chain agnostic. Now, that's a lot of jargon words, and we'll spend the next 1 hour understanding what is it that you can build with us. Why did we even build Mocha Network? And how does identity-powered dApps can help you build applications which can onboard real users and where you can actually build with zero-knowledge proofs and identity without the hassle of even getting involved with complicated tech and still being able to tap into a cross-chain identity infra. So that's what we have in store for you today. I'll be walking you through everything from what to expect for the Buildathon, what does our tech stack looks like, how can you as a developer get started on building, what we are looking for in terms of ecosystem, and when you're building with us, what can you get as support, as accelerated support after the Buildathon, and why does it matter to build now?
Amazing. So you cover everything, and maybe the most the builders interested is what kind of support they can get, because they know Mocha Network's being super active, but they're here to build something on Mocha Network, and then kind of dedicated support for them is something they really expect here, of course. So yeah, great. So yeah, why don't you kick off the more detailed part, the tech stack deep dive maybe from here?
Okay, thank you so much. Let me just start my screen sharing and we can kick it right off.
Of course, great.
Okay, I hope my screen is visible.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I can see it.
Let's get started. So Mocha to everyone. Would love for everyone to put it in the chat so that we know. And it would also be great if you can put the country or the place that you're joining from so that we're aware where the community that's building with us is based out of. So you can use the YouTube chat to put that in. But proof of build, and this is wave 2. So why we call it proof of build is because we want you to be able to build and ship actual products. And that's why we have this entire thing in waves. So getting the organizational things out first, the building period started on the 5th of October and runs till the 19th. So you have 2 weeks to build. We're already in the first week, and we'll have the judging from 20th to the 23rd, after which the third wave will kick off. For a quick introduction, again, for those who might have missed, my name's Laisha. I am a developer at Moca Network. Been in the Web3 space for around 3.5 years, and I have been building in the AI and fintech space for quite a while now. What I do at Moca Network is help builders like you go from the ideation stage to actual ship products, making sure that products are not just hacked on or not just built as POCs, but they're actually launched. So you'll probably find me terminally online on Discord, and I'll be your point of contact for any kind of help and support that you need during the Buildathon. You can find me on Telegram. You can note this down, and on Discord at this ID. So if you have any issues, please feel free to reach out. And if you haven't already joined the Discord, I would say now's the right time to join. Everything with respect to announcements, latest updates, office hours, technical resolutions would all be happening on the Mocha Discord. So feel free to use this link. I'll also share an extended link for a developer onboarding guide, which has all these resources for you to refer. But it would be good that you can join it and keep yourself updated for any kind of announcements that are coming. And we also have a dev Telegram group, which has the latest updates on what new is coming up, what new is getting shipped, what ecosystem dApps are coming, and more such developer initiatives. So would request everyone to join in and connect with other people who are already building on top of Mocha. Now, where to start, right? There's a lot of things that I mentioned a couple minutes ago. So I've curated a builder's guide for you, which will help you understand what to expect, has all these resources, and I'll walk you through this guide as well. But when you click this link, you'll be redirected to a guide like this, wherein you have one, the important details for what the event is. It has certain session recordings from wave one, so you can refer to them for any kind of technical details or any kind of product sessions that we have. We also have a section which has the suggested tracks, which is basically the kind of projects we would like you to build. So it's a great resource for you to understand what is it that we are looking for developers to build. And what we also have is the details for adding your team, so that we know that you are building what you're building. We also have an ideation session sheet, so that we can help you nail down your idea to the exact implementable state. So we have curated a simple PRD template to help you understand how to take your problem statement to actually implementable key features, and also optimize for the integration with the Mocha stack. This is completely optional for you to do, but I would highly suggest you to do it so that you can get early feedback during the product sessions that are planned for you in the next week. Continuing from where I left off, once you have gone through the builder's guide, I would want you to, if you haven't locked in your idea already, lock in your ideas today. Try to check in some part of your initial code tomorrow. It's because you're at the end of first week. So it's a good time to get some early feedback from our end, and think about what features do you want to ship in your MVP. And I would want you to avoid any kind of last minute rush, but be able to plan for any kind of feedback that our team has to give. Now, a bigger question, right? A lot of you might be thinking, what's different with the Mocha ecosystem and what are we even building for? Now, traditionally, the Web3 ecosystem has been, primarily a lot of projects that sound really cool, but they stay unshipped. It ends at a demo stage. We never see the light of the day. Some teams are not just building for shipping, but they might be building for prizes. But that's not what we do here. What we are looking for is projects which are not just prototypes, but projects which are ready to be pushed for real world launch with actual users. And we are here to support you to go live. Because when you are building, one, you are building with keeping the business side in mind. So there's a clear path to monetization, ensuring that your project can stay afloat after the prize money has exhausted. So how do we do that? One, you'll have continued product mentorship and ecosystem support from our team. And when you are designing, that's why I said the exercise of deciding what you want to build, what features, is keeping in mind the actual adoption, segmenting which users you're targeting this for, and thinking who will want to buy this. And you also get direct access to curated VCs and the larger Animoca ecosystem. And that's how we do things here. So there's an accelerated path to scale when you decide to build on in the Mocha ecosystem. Now comes the important part. What can you build? So for the wave 2 of the Buildathon, we have 3 major tracks. The first is credential-based apps in the DeFi space. So think about how can identity and reputation transform your on-chain capital markets? Or how can you leverage your digital footprint or on-chain footprint to power the next set of DeFi applications? So some of the example applications that I have is one would be identity hooks for DeFi. So think about doing certain KYC and AML checks before a transaction is being settled so that you can make your platform more credible. You can also think about LP, where identity gated LPs can help you build a self-sustainable DeFi ecosystem. You can do this or extend this into on-chain credit scores. You can do this for on-chain loyalty and compliance. Think about applications where you would be able to offer certain perks and loans, perks on loans. For example, I have a certain credit score, so I get an accelerated access to a lower APR on a loan. And because it's on chain and automatic, it's much easier, but it's credibility backed and there's less chances of me being delinquent. So think about applications which can scale. Think about problems where right now you need to do a lot of background check, but you can't really do it. It's cumbersome and it's manual. Things you can automate with on-chain credentials. And another really interesting application, I think someone's already building this, is shared liability pools where you would stake to vouch for someone's trustworthiness. It could be a creator, it could be a lender, it could be some sort of fan marketplace, and you would slash their staking pool if they misbehave. So it could be a really nice crossover of DeFi and SocialFi, a really fun application. Now, these are not limited to these ideas. You can always think beyond these ideas, but credential-based apps in the DeFi space, universal identity, which is like generic outside of DeFi, and identity infrastructure are the 3 main categories. So the price pool will also be awarded per category. So keep that in mind when you are submitting your final idea. Now, when I say universal identity, this is more broader. Think about how you can bring real world identity into Web3. Think about verified fans portal where you create unique perks and rewards for your fans, and you prevent any kind of scalpers from polluting the platform or loyalty not being rewarded correctly. Another interesting application is verified education and professional history. You can think about it from the perspective of job portals. You can think this from the perspective of just managing your credentials, or making an infrastructure layer that can help a lot of these job portals verify people easily. And a very interesting application again is brand affiliations, where you'll be building a platform or certain tools for brands that can help them identify their real buyers. Now, this is very broad. You can choose a specific niche you would want to build this for. It could be just sneaker marketplaces that want to do this. It could be just product testers. It could be anything under the hood. And then the last one is identity infrastructure, where you can create infrastructure that can help other companies or other businesses monetize or acquire users using the identity gating that you have. So one of the most, I would say, foundational infrastructure that you can build would be data monetization tool, where you would allow users to freely monetize their data and identity. So it's basically a marketplace where I, as a user, have certain credentials, and I look at certain offers, perks, or opportunities for me where I can go ahead and verify my credentials, unlock some perks. Or if a certain ad network is looking for users of certain kind, I can opt in for those kind of ads. So it's basically a marketplace where I can see where do I need or where can I monetize my data by consent. And second is more from the business side, which is user acquisition. So this is more about creating embedded tools, for example, plugins and iframes where you can show certain ads, how you have it in case of Twitter. You could think about doing it in a Farcaster sort of a platform. So think about how you can leverage the credentials that you can build on chain in high traffic areas so that any kind of ad network, any kind of social fi platform can have verified user acquisition so that they have more user conversion and less cost per acquisition. So these are some of the ideas. For those of you who want to delve deep into it, if you go to the builder's guide, you would also be able to see all of these ideas in a much greater detail. Each idea is detailed with how you can use it. And in case of every idea, you also have details on how can you leverage the Mocha network stack to build this out. And we're always here to answer any questions that you might have. Now, couple of details. I'll skip through the rules. I'll come back to it at the end. For all of you who are here who have not already joined the page, I would highly suggest go ahead and join the Wavhack so that we know that you're building. You can always join the Wavhack over here. Since I'm already here, I see the button to submit, but go ahead and join. Also, always keep a lookout on the comment section here because we frequently post updates on what's happening. All the resources are also present in this section, so feel free to have a look here as well. In the end, we'll also discuss about the submission process and what we are looking for in terms of the submission details. But in the remaining time, let's use this rest of the time for covering more about what Mocha Network is, what our stack is all about, and let's understand what is AirKit and what Mocha Chain is. Now, when I look at Mocha Network as an identity infrastructure, it comprises of two things. The first is AirKit, which is an SDK toolkit that has been designed to help you build on Mocha Chain and to be able to, build credentials and accounts, leverage our account solution without the hassle of writing zero knowledge circuits on your own. So I know a lot of you understand that Mocha Network is doing an identity infra, but there's granular details to it. So when I say identity, we also mean creating an equitable, an open, and permissionless identity economy. That means removing the need for any middlemen. Middlemen meaning any kind of big data brokers like of Google and Facebook that have been controlling the majority of data that we generate today. So we want to shift the control back to the user while at the same time allowing users to monetize their data, but at the same time powering businesses that they can acquire verified users at a much larger scale. So think about you as a user when you interact with a certain app, your data is one shared to a data broker, and that data broker then powers other applications to use or give you ads, suggest you certain campaigns from other places. But what we want to do to be able to provide you this permissionless economy is to give back the control to you. You no longer need to go back to the data broker every time you go to another platform. Is basically you carrying all the control when you're interacting with a certain app like booking.com based on the number of stays you've had, how frequent traveler you are. You should have your credentials on chain that'll help you get discounts, perks, unlock opportunities for you without having to have a service interaction with these kind of bigger data brokers. And you monetize every interaction that you have on chain. Now, when you want to do this, right, one, you need a way to store all of these credentials, to store all of this information. And by credentials, what do I mean is nothing but a zero knowledge proof of all of your data that is persisted on chain. And I also need a way to interact with whatever credentials I have. So Mocha Chain has been designed in a way that it helps you store all your credentials and your credentials in the form of zero knowledge proof on chain. It's a layer 1 EVM compatible chain that is designed specifically keeping in mind the needs for privacy and compliance. And when we talk about a chain, it's not the easiest to interact with a chain. So you need dev tooling to be able to interact with a chain. So what we have created for you is AirKit. Air stands for account, identity, and reputation. So let's look at it in a greater detail. Now, Air has two important elements. The first is the account and wallet services, and the second is credentials. So when I say account services, what I mean is enabling an end-to-end global account solution. That means you can still onboard Web 2 and Web 3 users without the hassle of onboarding them to an account solution, enabling end-to-end account and identity infrastructures within like any kind of application that you have. So the first simple feature is you have an embedded account, which is as simple as a single sign-on. So you can have your regular email login. It could be Google Auth. You can also bring your own custom authentication method that you would want to onboard your users with. You can enable two-factor authentication. And when you create an embedded account, it also comes with an inbuilt wallet where you can have wallet services like on-ramp, off-ramping, token trading. You can have NFT minting and much more. And when we talk about onboarding users, specifically Web2 users to a Web3 application, you always have a UX friction where you need to sign multiple transactions. So it's gasless and signless. So we remove the UX friction for the end users. What you see on the right side of the screen is how one of our partners is currently utilizing this solution. So it's basically how you onboard. You simply log in using your Google account, and you're able to access the wallet services within your application. So this is SK Planet, which is currently using the account solution. Now, once I have onboarded onto your application, how do I actually utilize credentials, or what exactly is credential? So when I say credentials, it's self-sovereign W3C standard, digital identity, or you could say it's a framework with which you take your data, put it on chain in a way in which only you as a user can allow the access. And in any case, the data is fully verifiable and compliant, which means that if, let's say, my KYC data is available on chain and I need to go and do some off ramping on an exchange, I should be able to prove that I am above 18 years of age outside of certain demographic countries without having to share my actual identification documents with that platform. I'll only be sharing a zero knowledge proof in the form of on-chain credentials, and that's just it. So what are the features that you can leverage from the Air identity and credentials framework? One is data issuance. So what we enable is you as a platform to issue first party data to any kind of users and make that available on chain so that anybody else can come and verify it. Second, you can allow any kind of apps to verify this data with certain permissions. Depending upon what kind of data you're putting on chain, you can create frameworks of verifying that kind of data. And when I say data, you can pretty much tokenize any web data that exists out there. So you can use zkTLS to issue verifiable and privacy preserved data on chain. And when you do all of this, what it means is that now that you have all your users' data available, you can unlock a lot of rewards and access upon verification. So think about loyalty programs, rewards and perks, not just for fans, but for brands, for larger DeFi users, for gaming use cases. So what Air Credentials or AirKit helps you do is it adds a native monetization layer to your existing applications that enables, if you are a platform that has a lot of user data, to issue and monetize this data. And if your platform verifies a lot of data, you have a lot of traffic of users without having to start from the scratch. And you can always issue these credentials without the user even knowing that they are interacting with a Web3 layer. So you can look at on the right where we have an application which is trying to verify your membership and trying to verify if you have a certain number of points to unlock a reward for you on a flight app. And that's how simple it is to cross-pollinate users from one application to the other. And to sum it all up, when you look at the ecosystem right now, one, you onboard the users using a simple account solution. You help data monetization through first party data issuance. It could be any data under the hood. And then you power a whole suite of applications which can then verify this data. And you build an inbuilt monetization layer within your application. And an important aspect to note here would be that when you're building on top of Moca Chain, you can pretty much do everything that you were used to doing in an EVM ecosystem. Through credentials, you can add a selective disclosure, by which I mean you decide how much of your data you want to make public, how much of your data you would want to share. So it's all available on chain, but I can't really know what that data is unless I define what kind of information I'm trying to verify. So you create schemas, you issue credentials, and then you verify users. We'll look at all of these things in greater detail in the next 5 minutes, but the idea is that you should be able to use applications with identity gating without having to worry about whether or not your users are interacting with a Web3 element, or in that matter, a chain. We'll come back to this, but let me show you a quick demo of what it looks like to interact with one of the applications. So this is a very simple application that I built where I'm trying to do KYC for you because there is an exchange which requires me to have KYC, that requires me to be outside of the US and be more than 18 years of age. So I can go ahead and upload my passport photo. So what I'll do for this example is download a passport image from a random country, let's say UK for now, and then use that image to submit a proof. Obviously, this is a dummy picture. So we'll basically just use this as an example. Okay, give me 1 minute.
Mm-hmm.
Let me move this tab somewhere else. Okay. So I simply upload the passport image. And since some of the information is incorrect, I can update it. And I can update this as well. Okay, and the nationality is UK. And when I say confirm and submit, what I'm actually doing is storing certain details, which is nationality and my date of birth on chain in the form of a zero knowledge proof. So this is the process of credential issuance. And all of this is tied back to my Air account. Now, because I already created this credential just before the call, I'm going to update it so that I can store a new one with like the current timestamp. So this is done so that, for example, you are updating your passport and now you have a new passport. You have a way to update your credential, and you can always set an expiry to your credential as well. And while this is happening, it takes around 40 seconds. I want to give you a quick walkthrough of the builder guide. Let me go back one step. Now, when you come towards the end of this particular section, you'll see a resources section, which has details on pretty much everything you need in terms of starting out. I would highly suggest when you're first learning about Moca Network, go through the Moca book, understand the foundation on which we built it, would highly suggest reading the section Why Mocha Network, and also understanding what were the problems because of which we had to build our own layer one, and what does our technical stack helps you do. And when you've read through it, then you can start learning more about the AirKit. So within the documentation, you have 3 different quick start guides, which will help you first uh, onboard or integrate the account solution. It's pretty simple. We have one single SDK, which is called the AirKit, and it has 2 services within it. The first is the account service that we just saw, and then the credential service. So the first starter guide will help you integrate the account service. I'll give you a quick walkthrough of it after we have finished the example. And then the second one is, once you have integrated the account solution, how do you issue and verify using credentials? Now, this application that you just saw was more about how it would look like in your application, right? If I'm a user who's coming and I want to do KYC on your website, I wouldn't even know that I'm interacting with ZK. So, for example, I go to an exchange today, right, where I have to go and do a particular trade with this pair. So I click on trade, and I've set a certain condition that I only want users outside of the US to be able to trade, and I don't care about anything else. So when I click on allow, what happens is I'm trying to verify, do you have a KYC credential with which I can verify this information? If it already has that information, it will be able to check. If it doesn't have that information, it will redirect me back to this particular application to check, or allow me to get one for myself, and then I can come back to this platform. Now, this takes up to a minute to happen. And while this is happening, I will walk you through 2 things. Okay, the verification is complete, and I can go ahead and trade. An important thing to also note here is that how does this platform know that I have the credential? So let me log out and show you how does the Air account look like. Give me a minute. Now, if I click on trade, because I'm not logged into my account, you can either enter your email address or you can continue with Google. So let me enter my email address. When I click on next, it basically sends me a pin to log in. And once I enter that, I can simply access all my credentials. Let me get the pin real quick. My email. Okay. Okay, now that I'm in, it'll again simply trigger the verification on its end and go about it. So because this is a new account and I do not already have a credential, it'll ask me to go and get a credential being issued. So it redirected me to this page to one, get my credential. And then when I go back to this page and get the credential, then it will be able to verify me. In the interest of time, I want to walk you through how to actually use the AirKit and what does it take, what kind of resources you have. So when you first start looking at the documentation, you will go through basic usage, but I would highly suggest start going through the quick start guides first so that you're able to understand how to set up everything in your local. The first thing is install the SDK. It's an NPM package that's available. The second thing is go to the developer dashboard and do a few checks. I've already connected my wallet, but you can connect any wallet of your choice. Let me put that here. And when you navigate to the account section, you'll see a few general settings. The first one is your partner ID. Think about it like a configuration ID that everything that you want to configure ties to. So if you want to do any kind of customization, for example, in this case, when you want to add a particular say, logo, a specific kind of scheming during login, you can change that. And then you have your issuer and verifier DID that help you issue and verify credentials. There are other simpler things like name, logo, URL. So this is name that you can change. So for example, I can call it Buildathon onboarding. And when I actually run the test, it will be able to, show this and render this. You can have custom logos, and then you have JWKS URL that will basically help you verify your JWT tokens for session management. So let's get started with generating our first credential. Most of the things that you need to do with respect to generating credentials can be managed through your dashboard itself. So when I look at the issuer, I need to first navigate to the schema section and create a simple schema. So let's create our first schema. Let's call it user KYC. It's a user KYC, so it can be the schema type. Now within user KYC, what I want to do is I want the age and I also want your location. Those are the only two details that I'm looking for. Now, the next page that you see is the attributes. I first want to have my age attribute. You can have the same title. I want it to be of type integer, age of the user, and you can always choose to make a variable type as required or not required. The second one I want is location. This will be of type string. And I also want to make this as a required attribute, and then I can simply publish my schema. Once you have published your schema, you can copy the schema ID and then start with creating your first credential program. Now, what a program means is it's basically an issuance program that creates a template for what kind of credential you want to issue. The schema defines the data. For the ease of the demo, we have chosen a simple schema, but you can have anything under the hood that you want to create a data information for. I'll keep this as the usual. Since it's age and location, it would only expire after a year. So I'm choosing an expiry of 1 year, and I'm going to call it user KYC credential. And you can verify all of the details that the schema is correct, the attributes that you just put are correct, and you can click on confirm. And this will create the issuance program of your choice. Now, when you want to test the issuance, right, how do you do it? Let's go back to our documentation. When I want to start issuing credentials, what do? We have created an example application for you, which will help you test this out before you start integrating it into your application. So when you first come to this particular application, you'll see a bunch of different things. You'll see that there's an Air account that has been created for you. You can choose an account of your choice. I am connected to the same email that I used for the demo just now. So the first thing you'll have to do is go to the account section, navigate to the general tab, copy this partner ID and put it over here. Once you have done it, we can start the issuance process. So you'll see that there is a simple calculation here, which will help you generate a JWT token. For this demo application, I'm using this particular URL for verifying this JWT. If you're using your own JWT logic, you can always refer to the documentation and you can go to this section and look at different ways that you can generate the partner JWTs in. So this is like the standard way that you can go about it. If you want to change it, you can always switch things up. The second things I need is the issuer DID. So I can copy the issuer DID, paste it over here, and then I need my program ID. So go to the issuer section, navigate to programs, and pick the program ID that we just created. And because it's a demo application, you'll have to manually enter all the things that you need. But in an actual scenario, you would be doing this through the SDK. Let me say it's the UK, and I can start the credential issuance. This can take up to 30 to 40 seconds for it to happen. You can always verify the attributes that you're storing on chain. And what is actually happening in the background? Okay, I think there might be an issue with this account. Let me disconnect and connect with a different account. Let me refresh it real quick. Okay. Let me use the Google Auth to connect my account real quick. But essentially in the background, what's happening is that you are generating a zero knowledge proof, and that proof is then persisted on chain. I will quickly get all the details again. So while this is happening, I would request if everyone can quickly navigate to this particular dashboard and see if you're able to, access it. Would highly encourage if you can create your first schema while we are on this call. And, by the end of the workshop, you will have created and tested your first schema. And while this is happening, give me 1 minute. I just need to quickly plug in my charger and I'll be back.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Right. And then so the community feel free to throw like more questions. And then thank you for throwing some questions already. So those we will get back we'll answer all those questions in the end of Q&A sessions. So yeah, so if you have any questions further, happy to elaborate. But like some of the questions already like should maybe unanswered, but just in case in the end we'll answer all those questions. Okay.
Mhm. Thanks for waiting. So the credential issuance is actually complete, but how do I actually verify if this was done? So you can always go back to your issuance section, look at the records, and you can look at the total number of credential issued. So we just issued a user KYC cred. You can look at the details of it and verify if it was the correct program ID and the time. Now, when I'm doing all of this, right, I am doing certain on-chain operation. So how do I get the tokens? How do I manage it? So you have a fee wallet that you can deposit tokens into, that is basically used as a think of it as an inbuilt wallet or an embedded wallet from which any kind of gas would be deducted for the issuance and verification. In terms of the faucet, how do you access it? When you go back to your let me show you. You can always navigate to the chain explorer, navigate to the faucet section, verify your Discord, and enter your fee wallet address, copy it from here, and then you can fund your wallet. In case you're not able to use the DevNet faucet, please drop your wallet address on the Discord channel. On the Discord, let me show you which channel you do that in. So when you navigate to Discord, you will be landing on the main page over here, from where you can claim your dev role. Once you have claimed your dev role, you'll be able to access the dev chat channel. So you can simply drop your address in and I'll be able to send you the tokens in case the faucet is not working at certain hours of the day. Now, coming back to where I left off. So now I have a KYC credential. I can do anything, right? For example, I want to do something very similar. I want to create the same logic where I want to verify that I am only allowing users outside of the US to access my platform. So I go to the verifier section and I create a program. It's similar to you going to a bar and proving that you're above 18 without having to show your identity card. So I want to create a program. I'm choosing to verify it on Moca Chain, and user KYC is my schema. I say I want someone who is outside of the US. So the value of location should be not US. You can always add another query. Like I could always say that I want users greater than 18. That's completely possible. And then let me duplicate this tab, or rather copy the issuer DID from here. So you can have multiple queries within it. You, as many number of variables you have, you can have that many queries over your variables. And once I have all the details in, I can define a name for my user KYC verification. And I can verify all the details. If everything looks good, I can confirm. And now that I have the program created, now I can use this logic to use at multiple places. Now let's see how does this work. In a real world application, it would look very similar to this, where you will fetch it from my Air account and I wouldn't even know I'm interacting. But for you to test it out as a developer, you can simply navigate to the verification section over here. Let me, yeah, it's the same account. Let's go back and copy this program ID. This is my verification ID. Now I need two things. For everything that you do in the AirKit, partner ID is what you will be using for pretty much everything under the hood. I generate my JWT and I need my verifier DID, which is over here. And I also did not hit save for this. You can always change this name. Let's say I want to call it proof of build. Okay. So let me copy. And you also see there's something here, which is the redirect URL. So this is created so that if I, as a user, am coming to your platform for the first time and I do not have a credential, you can redirect me over here and I can get a credential. So I say start the credential verification. In this case, because I just issued a credential, I definitely have one. So it will not redirect me and ask me to get a new one. Okay. Yeah, I missed one step. Let me go back and explain that to you. So if you look at the program over here, the status is currently shown as draft. That means that the program is not available on chain or can't be accessed on chain. So I have to first apply the program. And for you to apply the program, you would need to fund your wallet, which is basically your fee wallet. And because I don't have enough tokens available in my fee wallet, I am not able to do it. Okay, I think I have tokens. Let me retry. Okay. So it takes around a minute or so to deploy. But basically what is happening is when you are verifying a proof on chain, you need this program to be available so that the proof can use these constraints and then verify all the statements that you have. In our case, we'll be checking if location is not US and age is greater than 18. So when I go back to my verification, I can start the verification again. And now it is picking up both of the things that I just entered. location, and age. I click on allow, and what it is doing in background is checking if there is a credential that exists where I can pull this information from. If it does, it looks for the zero knowledge proof on chain with that information, and then it checks for those statements. And once the result is obtained, it'll either be compliant or non-compliant. If it's compliant, you can open up, say, a reward or a perk to your user. If it's non-compliant, then you can handle it accordingly in your application. Now, a lot of you would be thinking that this is a UI. How do I do it in code? And that's exactly why we have created the quick start guide. You have a complete walkthrough of how to handle it in the code. So after this particular section, you have issuance of credentials using the AirKit. Now, what we have done is we've created a full stack example for you, which will help you set up the credentials SDK within your local. So you can look at this particular repository, which has a full stack, which is basically the code for this particular UI. So you can understand how to integrate it in your React code. It also works with Next.js if you prefer to use that. Pretty simple. All you'll have to do is that when you set it up in your local, make sure that the version of the SDK that you're using is 1.6.0, which is the latest version. If you have an old version of this, please update the version of your SDK. And that's how simple it is to start integrating with it. To summarize, the steps are: create your schema, what kind of credential you want to issue, create a skeleton of that particular credential like we just did. And then when you have created a credential, if you are also verifying credentials on your platform, define how do you want to verify it, right? What kind of information are you looking to verify? Now, when I go back, it says the verification result is compliant. It is also giving you details of the zero knowledge proof that was accessed on chain. And it also has the transaction hash that you can go and look on the DevNet scan, which will basically give you details on what exactly happened in terms of the steps. So this is basically details of your user operations that happened at a circuit level. So if you're interested to have a look at it, you can always look at the details of the transaction, and you can look at the storage objects as well over here. And in terms of Issuance Explorer, it's just mostly to help you understand what kind of credential was issued, what kind of credentials were you looking to verify. I'd like to stop here for a minute to see if there are any questions on
Right.
anyone not being able to access any of the links, and then I can proceed with like just the organizational stuff of submission, etc.
Right. Yeah, I mean, builders, if you have any questions on this specific part, happy to have those on YouTube. And then Laisha, we actually have like one like super simple questions from the loan pool that we can we use the dummy data?
When you're testing, you can use the dummy data, or when you're presenting your POC and you don't have actual data, you can use dummy data. But I would highly suggest to make it as realistic as possible. For example, if you're demoing KYC, for now you can use dummy data, but it would be nice if you can, use a simple model where I upload my ID and then you can fetch my details and issue a KYC for me. Because in an actual scenario, your user wouldn't be doing this. Your user would be simply coming to a platform like this and doing the KYC. That's the idea behind showing you the application first. This is mostly for you as developers to test it out, so that, if you're not able to set up the SDK just yet, want to get a hang of how to issue credentials, you can do 50% of the things from the dashboard itself.
Good. I hope that answered your question, Lampu. And then also Lampu asked if you can share this maybe slide or link Notion like later,
Yes.
or yes,
It's
great.
there, this particular slide deck. If you go to the guide over here and go to the session recordings, let me go up. When you go to the session recordings, you'll see the kickoff deck present here. So you can access it here.
Amazing, amazing, great, great, great.
In the interest of time, I quickly want to cover certain organizational stuff for the Buildathon so that everyone's
Mm-hmm.
aware. I would say,
Mm-hmm.
whatever team you are hacking in, just for our awareness, please enter your team details in the sheet below. It's a simple Excel sheet. We just want to know your team members' details and what you're building. And if you're looking for any feedback from us, there are ideation sessions that are planned for the rest of the week. I'll send out the email invites to everyone so that you can, come
Mm-hmm.
and bounce off your ideas with us
Mm-hmm.
that are aligned with the tracks, obviously. So don't miss out on these opportunities. Obviously, it's a great resource for you to, get details on what not to build. You might be going in a very different direction. So use that to your
Mm-hmm.
advantage. Again, please take a note of these important links that will come in handy. First is your onboarding guide, and second is the tracks that you can build. Uh, as an emphasis, again, if you are not already on Discord, please join Discord and join the dev chat channel over here, and you can claim your dev role when you start the verification process and submit your ideas for early feedback. And the third most important thing is when the deadline to submit your project comes, when you go on the Akindo platform and submit, what we definitely need from your end during the submission is a live demo link. If you don't have a live deployable link, you wouldn't really stand out as a project, because if we can't try out your product, we can't really understand what you've built. Your GitHub repository and a short 2 to 3 minute video of what you've built, so that if we can't get in touch with you or we can't get more details on what you've built, a short demo video can help us understand what you've built. So these three are the mandatory requirements that you can build. So when you're submitting, I would highly suggest one of the projects from wave one that really submitted well. Let me show that. I think, I think this project submitted everything pretty well. They had their GitHub, they had their live deployed link, and they had details on what kind of milestones that they are building.
Mm-hmm.
And in your deliverable, I would highly suggest that along with your GitHub, also have your live demo being put. Because these teams were in touch with us, we had access to their live demos as well. And if there are any comments and feedback that are added onto your project submission over here, please have a look at them so that you can use that to improve your project. That's all for the session. We have 3 minutes, so we can use this time to actually talk about any kind of questions that you might have, whether it's related to the problem statements,
Right.
anything that you have.
Right.
Feel free to use this
We
time.
got we got right. Thank you. Thank you. We got some questions actually. And then Ismail
That's
asking,
all
will you be
for the
sharing
session.
the
We
code
have three
codes
minutes,
for
so we
this
can use.
sample app you created?
Sorry, can you come again?
Will you be sharing the codes for this simple app you just created?
Yes, yes. So all of the links are there in the Moca Networks documentation. I can
Mm-hmm.
also post it on the chat, the link for the application. It's there in the chat. So you can, I would say, the documentation is your holy grail for any kind of resource. And if you want to navigate it better, please have a look at the onboarding guide as well. So it'll be able to help you with any and every questions that you have.
Great. And the next one is, does the credential issuer needs to deploy verifier program even if their platform is not dealing with the verification?
No, if you're not dealing with verification, then you do not need to deploy a program. If you are just, say, an issuer, you can simply issue credentials. If you want to verify users to come into your platform to, say, get a reward or a perk, is when you would have to deploy a verification program that checks whether am I eligible, do I need to give this person a specific tier or some sort of reward.
Right. And by demo, can they demoke?
I think the person's referring to mock data. If that's what you mean, I would say you can mock up your data for the demonstration, because when you actually build your product, you'll obviously use real data sources. But if you don't have real data sources, you can always assume that there will be a data feed that you have. But I would highly suggest, if you are looking for some real world data that you need a data feed for, reach out to us. We have data providers
Great.
that we can open up access to for you so that you can build like a realistic working application.
Amazing. And then Izhei asked in like real beginning of this session that what if I am just starting the project from the start, and then that's totally fine, right?
Mm-hmm.
Of
So,
course.
I mean, I would say it's never too late to start. First,
Mhm.
decide a problem statement from the list of ideas that we already have, and just get started building. It's not that, like, there aren't too many ZK elements that you need to deal with. So, it's pretty simple for you to power up a great application very easily. So, just get started. If you want to validate your idea with us, use the opportunity of the ideation session, or just post your idea on the Discord channel, and I can get you feedback asynchronously as well.
Great. Do you guys have any question, the builders? And then I saw that the Elisha, you commented on onboarding guide.
Yeah,
So like
I
what you
have
gonna do?
put both the links so that
Mhm.
people who haven't had a chance to follow through can refer to these
Mhm.
two links, which has pretty much everything they need.
Mhm. Please provide a project list again.
It's
Is that
there inside the onboarding guide, but I can also put it here. This has the list of all ideas.
amazing? Amazing. Great. I think they might have like more question further questions, but guys, as Laisha said, feel free to ask her any questions anytime on Discord, because that's gonna be like to help you guys 100%. Right. Great. So yeah, as we come to the end, let me share again a few next steps and reminders. So the first, we'll be sharing this recording shortly after this event, so that everyone can catch up with everything Alicia explained. And then most of the links are there, as Alicia said, so that's fine. And then make sure you join the Mocha community, Discord, GitHub, and then also the Telegram group, everything, so that you can catch up with everything to build further. And then yeah, begin building. Get started with your idea, use the tools Mocha provided, and reach out if you need support. And then please make sure you are aware of those timelines. So we have a current wave 2 until the end of 19th. And then after that, we'll have the judgment period. And then after that, we'll have wave 3 from the 24th of October to the 4th of November. So please make sure, all those are your buildings, and then ask whatever the questions to Laisha if you guys have anything. And then finally, thank you all for joining us today, and to Laisha and Mocha team. And Laisha, if you have any a message to the builders before finishing the call,
I would just say one
I'd love to
thing,
have
that
that too.
when you're
Mhm.
building for this Buildathon, don't just think of shipping a project, but think of shipping a product that will have actual users, and think of the business aspects as well when you're choosing your problem statements. So all the best to everyone who's building, and happy building.
Great, great. Thank you. And then thank you again for everyone. So best of luck to each of you, and the Buildathon. We can't wait to see what you create and what you build, and have a great rest of your day. Thank you. Thank you, Laisha. Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
See you on a Buildathon. Yeah, this session is now concluded. Thank you and goodbye.
はい。ありがとうございます。何社出ちゃいましたが。はい。終了しました。ありがとうございます。サクッと。はい。